It is a pleasure and an honor to once again be able to be with you here on the stage at Wisdom 2.0. It's good to see friends, old friends, new friends, beloved community members who are drawn together by this beautiful, aspirational, inspiring vision created by Soram and the team at Wisdom. So practicing together in troubled times. You know, each of those words by themselves don't need, I think, defining. We know what it means if we're in this community. We've experienced together. If we hadn't experienced practicing mindfulness or explored some of those modalities before being here, although I know many of you have, we certainly have experienced them here. But practicing in the ways that we're often invited to practice these days, we're often invited to practice on our own, right? Using, again, the technologies that make these practices so readily accessible and available, our apps, right? We're often invited into a kind of a hyper-individualized engagement with the practices. And on the one hand, that's amazing and important and fantastic, because to whatever degree we might access and amplify the benefits of mindfulness, it requires a commitment to personal practice, I believe. And by the way, anything I say, I'm offering as hypotheses, right? It's always, for me, about allowing the deep questions of our lives to inspire the learning that only our own experience can really give us. So the hypothesis one that I'm starting out here with is that personal practice is a really important foundation for our being able to be well. We've just heard all of the beautiful descriptions from Dr. Eppel, and then Shelley's inspiring discussion of how taking mindfulness into the world in this engaged way with her research and her beautiful collaborations have cultivated ways of practicing together that can be of benefit in ways that can heal us individually and our communities. But it's not easy, I'm just going to say, for us to practice together in these times. Maybe I'm the only one that's felt a little bit of some of the kinds of tensions that we face. In my work, which has been very much about bringing mindfulness in a socially engaged way to bear on challenges, including racism. My book, The Inner Work of Racial Justice, Healing Ourselves and Transforming Our Communities Through Mindfulness, was really about opening up the aperture on how these practices, often given to us, you're fortunate to have received them, often from our Asian American heritage friends and community members who've lovingly shared these practices with us, and we've translated these practices into secular supports for our everyday lives. But again, often the way we've translated them, the way we've shared them, has often emphasized the individual nature of practice, delivery, and progress. And yet, I think in the moments that we're in right now, we're really called to explore how the personal dimension of mindfulness, the personal practices, support us in the interpersonal experiences of mindfulness, and from that, the collective experiences and benefits. And so one of the things I want to say now, and in case I forget, the time will pass really quickly, one of the basic kind of calls to action that I want to deliver in this message is that each of us is called, I do believe, I want to amplify my friend and teacher John Kabat-Zinn's message, that all of us have a karmic assignment. We all have some original, I think, message. If we think back to our own childhood or some point in our lives where we had a real clear sense of what we came here to do before we got formed and socialized and trained and got degrees and all of those different things, they gave us another set of assignments. The question I think that mindfulness is asking us to, one of the questions mindfulness is asking us to contemplate is what is, yes, our karmic assignment. What were those questions that animated us when we were children, when we were originally engaging and learning for the first time? In that sense, what is our original, you might say, medicine for this moment? And it seems to me that one of the things we have learned in the wake of the trying times that we've come through in terms of the pandemic, but the trying times that we're in. When I say the troubles, the troubling times that we're in, I think for all of us, we may fill in the gaps as to what I mean by the troubles in different ways. For me, certainly it includes, all of the different things we've been talking about: climate change, inequality, the political division and divisiveness that I think has touched our lives, all of us, wherever we happen to find ourselves on that spectrum, yeah? So I wanted to call right into the room a sense of what kinds of troubles you think of when I put this title of Practicing Together in Troubled Times. Because I think for each of us, that is going to be something that we define in different ways. What does it look like to you? What are the troubles that, in a certain sense, you may be called to bring whatever you learned from this beautiful gathering into the world to help mend, heal, and repair? What are those particular troubles that you're called to help address? So for me, in addition to, well, first of all, I happen to have been practicing and teaching at the University of San Francisco School of Law for many years. I recently was appointed this new role of serving as director of a new center for contemplative law and ethics. Yeah, woo, right? So it's building on. I mean, that's one of the, this is sort of like a kind of a progress report since the last time I was on stage with you all. I published a book, and I've been going around the world talking and teaching about bringing mindfulness into the inner work of racial justice, but really social engagement generally, and underscoring the underlying ethical call, the underlying call to bring love in action into the world. That is how I see mindfulness as a support for doing these, addressing the hardest challenges of our time. And so it's in this space of asking us, how do we bring our practices into social engagement, that I want to invite us to do something that's a little different in this room. I'm going to invite us to do something that's going to be new for me and scary for me, because I've never done it in a space like this before. And it might be different and scary and something you hadn't planned to do. But first, it's a practice that we might do together collectively, so we can explore together what it means to practice together in troubled times. To give you a clue of what I'm going to ask you to do, there was an article published in the Greater Good Science Center's weekly roundup of new research called "Singing in a Choir Can Boost Your Mindfulness." That's right. That's right, singing in a choir. Now, how many of you feel yourselves to be professional quality singers? There might be some of y'all. How many of you don't consider yourselves professional quality singers? Maybe you sing a little bit at home in the bathroom, but you're not. How many of you are like, I don't even sing in the bathroom? I'm not. But what I'm asking you to do, despite whatever preconceived notions you have about whether you're the singer or whether you're called for this today, is to sort of pause and invite this inquiry. Am I willing to explore and get out of my comfort zone just a little bit? Am I willing to go with Rhonda down this path of sort of scary experimentation and sing as a mindfulness practice? If you're willing, my dear friends. Yay! All right, if you're willing, can we stand up together if you're willing, and if you can, to the degree you can. Again, we've been sitting for a while, some of us might as well. All right, so this is a song, and first of all, I've done this once before, something like this, and I had us all sing This Little Light of Mine, which we all know. That's easier. So I'm going to do something a little bit out of the box, offer a song that most of us don't know. So it's going to be a call and response, or a sing-along. All right, so I will offer these words. And by the way, the research, again, that I'm leaning into underscores the social, emotional, psychological benefits of singing together as a support for strengthening our mindfulness practice. Actually, some research confirms that this is possible, so we'll try a little bit here together. All right, so the song. Now, y'all are going to see I'm not a professional singer at all. It's a big risk for me, so we do it together. All right, the song is called Will We Ever Learn? And it's by a singer called Oleta Adams. Some of y'all, kids of the 80s or 90s, might know Oleta Adams, African-American woman singer, who wrote this song. And it's always touched me, and why not bring it out here with the 800 of my favorite new friends? Okay, so what I'll do is sing a part of the refrain and then pause and invite you to sing it after me, okay? And we'll learn it together, all right? So it starts, it's a kind of this is about the pace. It's not really fast, okay? And we can clap along if you want. Snap our fingers. Feel a little movement in your body. All right. Jigs. 1, 2, 3. We can take a train, be miles away by morning. We can take a train, be miles away by morning. Just forget about those things we're supposed to do. Just forget about those things you're supposed to do. 'Cause we can't afford to waste another moment. 'Cause we can't afford to waste another moment. We'll make a world, just wait for me and you. We'll wake the world, just wait for me and you. Everywhere, people try to build those castles in the sky. They try to climb so high. Okay, everywhere, people try to build those castles in the sky. They try to climb so high. Okay, now pause. You and I, sometimes we're blinded by the lights. Go. You and I, sometimes we're blinded by the lights. But if we only use our minds, if we only use our minds. Okay, here's the refrain. Will we ever learn? Will we ever learn? Love's the only reason why we all keep living. Love's the only reason why we all keep living. It's the only gift worth giving. It's the only gift worth giving. And the world will turn. And the world will turn every time another of us takes that vow. Every time another of us takes that vow. We will make it somehow. We will make it somehow. Woo! Okay, thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah! Woo! We will make it somehow. Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so please be seated or stand as you'd like. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a bit of a meditation/singing session at 11 after this. So if you haven't got enough singing and playing and being in a different space together, join me in that session. All right, so in the short period of time I have left, really what I'm hoping to say, I think we actually probably experienced a little bit. First, pause, feel what's alive in your body right now. We've tried something a little different, yeah, right? We shifted the energy in our bodies. Pause and take a look around you, these beautiful human beings with whom you just took a little bit of a risk and sang together when you weren't expecting to. You know, there is something moving and touching about, experimenting together and trusting each other enough to try something new. And, for me, this is a kind of a manifestation of what it is that I have taken to be one of the deep messages, if you will, of this period of change and transformation that I have experienced in my life. One of the things that I actually brought on here are, I don't have them on, but in addition to having trained as a mindfulness teacher with John Kabat-Zinn and having done a lot of things over the years to help inform the work that I've been doing to bring mindfulness to bear on social problems, I've taken vows in the tradition of the Bodhisattva, of the Upaya Zen Center sort of peacemaker tradition. And there are 3 tenets of the peacemaker tradition. And the 3 of them are not knowing, okay? So recognizing that despite all the things that we know, despite all the ways that we have been formed to engage in politics in these days, to stand up and advocate for justice, not only in areas that I've already alluded to, climate change and political division generally, and the pandemic and public health crises, but to fight racism in its ascendancy, authoritarianism in its ascendancy again, patriarchy, all of these things, ableism, classism, elitism. All of our communities are suffering. Inequality, economic inequality is running through and intersecting through all of those things. And so we've been, often given from our good friends in the social justice movement certain ways of standing strong in the desire to transform those realities. And I got a question. I've been looking at all of those things and really wondering how that's working. Some of the strong ways that we have been standing, I think, could benefit more from this inner work that recognizes that while we are called here to address these injustices, we need to do it with the quality of not knowing. We need to do it with a quality of compassion for ourselves and for others, and a willingness to keep cultivating our own ability to get out of our own way and to shift course if we find that what we are doing actually is, kind of reverberating in a way that suggests we might be more skillful. There could be another way. Because I'm here to say that social justice and mindfulness to me make a lot of sense, but it's all about us accessing our power, recognizing that we already belong, all of us, or else life wouldn't have called us into this engagement together. And from the place of knowing that we belong, offering a vision and a way of being that uplifts all of us, that recognizes we've all been suffering. So not knowing, bearing witness to the suffering that we see, again, each of us is seeing a different kind of suffering. Don't hide what you know, don't be afraid to share what you know, and then healing yourself as you heal others. These, I think, are time-honored, wise counsel for us as we try to do the work of changing the world and practicing together. Sometimes the practicing together work calls for us to find safer spaces, affinity group spaces, where we practice and know that we are not alone. But ultimately, we're trying to heal and repair and transform the world. So can we do a both and? Can we have our times when we come together with people who understand the world through the lenses that we do, but also reach out and bridge as best we can? I think, I'm inspired in this moment to really just underscore, again, in deference to what's already been presented on the stage. We stand on the shoulders of giants. It's Martin Luther King, it's Grace Lee Boggs, it's Thich Nhat Hanh, it's all of those. But each of us has spirit and power that is equal, if not greater than, all of those who've come before. We don't know our power until we exercise it. So thank you all for giving me this opportunity to share with you a way that I think we can continue to inspire each other to access our highest and best. I'll see you all at 11 o'clock if you want a little bit more. Thank you.